So, DuckTales. This shit's my jam. Well, to be honest, when it comes to the Duckverse stuff, I'm more of a Darkwing Duck guy. But DuckTales. Okay, we're gonna do this the whole time, or wait a minute. Chip and Dale. Rescue Rangers. Fine. Anyways, DuckTales. Motherfucker. Every day you're out here pissing me off. You know what? Touche. Now, I'm not breaking down the whole show. Way too much time. That's a different video. I'm not gonna talk about how timeless it is, how the reboot looks amazing, how Scrooge is somehow still relatable, and that fact alone is a testament to the beauty of the writing when you can actually have a main character who has everything and still tell a good underdog story. Or how the creator of the comics really doesn't like the original show, saying things like, oh, it's too childish and beneath him. Your OG comic was good, but it wasn't the most biting socio-political satire in the world. It's hard, man. Ducks ain't even got any teeth to bite. I mean, they could snap, I guess. And his comics did have pretty snappy dialogue. Touché. But so did the show, and there's nothing more snappy than that intro. Oh. Okay, let's just dive knuckle deep and jump into this money bin. First, I want to talk about the opening as a whole. The main camera technique that's going on here is one that generates a sense of weight to the camera, as though we're hanging on a jib, or maybe like a string holding the camera, held by a lakitu. It gives the camera a sense of weight because it's moving up and down, moving in between all these spots. They're giving the illusion of a continual single shot through this whole intro, much like a movie that everyone may know, you definitely know. Birdman is the movie I'm talking about. Wait, Scrooge is a Birdman. Could they?
The impression that you're a washed-up comic strip character. That's good.
Dad? You used to be a big deal. Whatever happened to you?
I know Hasby. Scrooge McDuck. I made my name tougher than the toughies and smarter than the smarties.
What I'm getting at is that yes, there are transitions that separate the shots, but it is creating a three-dimensional space that we're moving through. And as we move through the rest of the intro, we see comic panels reflecting different elements in different scenes that we were just in. And the purpose of creating this three-dimensional space is the perfect little gesture to show off one of the larger messages of DuckTales, and that is exploring your world is dope as hell. So there's a narrative in the DuckTales theme, which is cool. It's not uncommon or completely out of the question. Usually it might just be a clip show or fun scenes that establish elements of characters. But regardless, they choose to do a narrative-esque thing. It's a distilled little adventure of what kind of tales we're gonna be getting up to when watching DuckTales. Scrooge is chasing after a dime. Spoilers, we know it's his first dime, but let's pretend that we don't, or that you don't read the comics or whatever. This still establishes his character that he's always hustling and that he'll chase after anything, any amount of money, including a dime, which is hardly worth it. Do you see that coat? Do you see that top hat? Do you see that cane? Boy does not need a dime. We immediately pull back to reveal more characters. We aren't sure who they are, but we do know, in fact, they are probably not enemies, given that they're following so close to Scrooge and don't have a look of malice on their face. Then we pull back even farther to reveal a mob, a grab bag of villains. We give top billing to one of his most iconic villains, the Scottish Duck. I don't care about his name. The point is, he gets to be the one to transition us to the next scene. Then we pull back the camera one more layer to reveal that there are comic panels everywhere. This is a kind of powerful, interesting technique to do so because at the same time, we're getting visual syncopation with the lyrics of the song as well as the comic panels, which then stresses the reality that they are pulling heavily from the original cartoon show, because that was also something that they tried to do with the original syncopation visually. Also that they're pulling from the comic. It helps establish that, hey man, this is the DuckTales for everybody. We're mixing them both up, man. It's its own thing. It's a comic. It's the OG show. It's its new show. We're a little bit of everything. It's just a really, really good way to show homage in like 2 seconds to like all its different materials. Then we meet this goober. He's really happy. He's actually the nicest one out of all of us because he actually looks at the camera and waves and says hello to us. Like, man, I bet he does that with everybody though. I bet he just says hi to everybody. I bet he's really, oh no. Ooh, he probably shouldn't have though. His general like callousness. Now he's probably dead, lost in the darkness. Sorry, man. Is that A light in the darkness? Could it be our old friend Nope, oh, never mind, it's just the kids without Scrooge. Although it does establish their independence and show us that they're not following him around like, you know, ducklings, I guess. It's dumb. We'll get to that symbol on his book later. Trust me, it's important. Write it down in your notebooks, kids. But before we do anything else, the Shadow Boogin's gotta move us over to the treasure room for the next part of our adventure. I really love how this scene sets up everybody so well. But in particular, I love the dynamic between Scrooge and Donald that's really established in this scene. If you look at Scrooge and Donald in particular, when they're laughing, the way their body posture sits and the look that Scrooge gives him, which is a combination of, oh, you little scamp, and you've really grown up, Donald, establishes their relationship as uncle and nephew so perfectly. And I love that in such a small window of time we can get to see such an obvious relationship that we often forget about explored so well, because honestly Scrooge was probably Donald's hero, and it's very obvious that he respects him enough to join the Navy and become an adventurer. It's just really cool. I love it so much. Also in the same scene, we get to see just how much of an asshole Louis is. He runs for his own life. Not even dropping the gold, just runs for his own life, ditching his family, just leaving them to die. It is insane. What a duck bag.
Who's the evil triplet?
Louis.
Here we get to see Donald, and he is in full form, being all neurotic and worrying about his nephews because they're on a boat, and oh my goodness, I sure hope that, hey, he's not dead. That's really cool. Oh, shit. Does that rhino have the, boom, class, pull out your decoder rings. That's what I'm saying. Where's that note? I told you, jot that shit down. It's important. Side note, we know this is the Junior Woodchuck symbol if you look at other media or have seen the show before. What we don't know in this intro is that exact thing. We don't know exactly why it's important to Huey, but we do know that it is in fact important to Huey because of color theory, because it's the same color on all of the things as his color. So it's a key element of his character. See, color generally represents relationship to characters in media. It's common, it's a thing, it's simple, but truly effective. So whatever this symbol is, it's an important thing to Huey. And as we watch a show, we'll find out that it's a Junior Woodchuck symbol, and we'll get to better understand that Huey really is into the Junior Woodchucks. Also because he'll talk about it a lot, because that's what you do when you're establishing characters. Also, Rhino Rampage! Aw, man. We've learned about two triplets. What's the one left? The forgotten middle child, Dewey, and the dingus of a dragon that comes out of that gate. More importantly, Dewey is clearly the most adventurous. He literally pulls a sword out of the stone. You know, like King Arthur, because he really wants to prove himself, because he's a middle child. And that totally makes sense.
Ha! Good one. Classic Scrooge Dewey banter. The seasoned but tired explorer passing the torch to his cocky young successor.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't actually know our names.
God, ooh, that's a real spooky boogin. Okay, so that they're literally doing the thing. Then we have more comic action editing that shows us Webby and how effective she is as a fighter with her grappling hook gun to set up the rest of the fam as a team. And they come together to unravel the weird mummy boogin and, you know, turn it into a pile of bones. It's awesome. It establishes that team dynamic that truly is one of the other core messages of DuckTales.
Aw, family truly is the greatest adventure of, oh no, the ground!
But now, here it comes. The race for the dime becomes insane. We start moving off of the rails, man. We are out of the comic panel. We are just in the edge of reality. We're just racing on an infinite plane. But what's going on? Scrooge begins to fall behind. That can't be. Scrooge can't lose his first dime to his enemies. That would be awful. What do? The song's wrapping up. We're almost over. We're in a third act situation, boys. So Scrooge hunkers down, gains his composure, and what does he do? The signature money dive right into the comic panel, this yellow comic panel. What is this thing that he's diving into? It's his money, right? So he's ducking and weaving between all these enemies. He's moving. He gets ahead of the pack. He winds up climbing to the top of whatever the thing is that he's been climbing to the top of, and he catches the dime at the last minute. Beakley behind him, attentive. She's been in the background the whole time like a good maid should. And his kids right there following behind, ready for a fight, but the enemies are encroaching. What are they to do? We're at the top of the situation, boys. This is some scary stuff. How can Scrooge get out of this situation? But then, from out of nowhere, here it comes. Chekhov's plane. Actually, it's Launchpad McQuack plane, but Chekhov's plane. That thing that happened in the first act, it's here now. It's come back, and it's slamming into the side of the thing, knocking every enemy off. And hopefully Launchpad is still somewhere safe inside the thing. But then we reveal it's the DuckTales theme. Oh, shit. Boom. It's done. And we start the show. What an adventure we've already had. So then what does all this amount to? What am I getting at? The point is, this DuckTales theme isn't just good. It isn't just effective as far as establishing everything you need to know, regardless of whether or not you've seen any aspect of DuckTales before, or if you've seen every aspect of DuckTales before. That just means it's an effective intro, and a damn good one. Moreover, the amount of care, time, and effort that went into creating this intro is something that should be rewarded. So much attention to detail went into this. So much love and passion and interest went into creating this. I think the biggest thing that really sells it all is the fact that they didn't touch the theme song, because at its core, that theme song gave a whole generation an anthem to follow to everybody, and it perfectly encapsulates everything that wasn't only DuckTales, but what it meant to be an adventurer. DuckTales wasn't stuck to the confines of one genre. It wasn't stuck to the confines of anything. It could be anything it wanted. You might solve a mystery. You might rewrite history. They weren't ponytails or cottontails, man. They were just DuckTales. And now they're here again. Thank you guys for sticking out to the end of this. If you'd like to help fund these videos and get access to some pretty cool shit, feel free to become one of my patrons. It would help me make bigger, larger, more impressive videos for you guys. And more of them. That's the big one. More videos, because then I won't have to work a different job to help pay for like bills and food and all of that. Being said, remember the 3 rules. Don't be a dick, follow your bliss, and DuckTales is dope as hell.